Hey, what is going on, guys? So today we're checking out the Jill Valentine statue, which comes with the Resident Evil 3 Collector's Edition of the game. So yeah, this game was officially out on the 3rd of April 2020, and yeah, it's a super nice piece. So yeah, today we're going to take a look. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to check out this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a suggestion in the comments below for what video you guys want to see next. So here's a look at the front of the statue, and back here we have the outer packaging for the game, and up here we have the packaging for the figure itself, just in case you guys want to check that out. Okay, and so here we have both statues from both of the Resident Evil remakes. So yeah, here we have the Leon S. Kennedy statue from the Resident Evil 2 Remake Collector's Edition, and of course here we have the Jill Valentine statue from the Collector's Edition. So yeah, there's a look at both the statues, and they both have these really cool display bases with their name. And here's a quick look at the packaging for both of the statues. So yeah guys, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Jill Valentine statue. So yeah, stay tuned guys. Okay, and so let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpts. So I think the figure has a pretty good sculpt. I do think she has quite a nice resemblance to how she looked in the game. I mean, from certain angles it looks really good, but at other angles not so much. So I mean, it's really not a perfect statue, but for the most part they did do a pretty good job. So yeah, I'm pretty happy enough. So I think the paint job on her face is pretty good. As you can see, her eyes are painted a dark blue colour, and you can even see her eyelashes and eyebrows painted in there, which is a really nice detail. She's even got like some freckles on her face, which is a very subtle detail. I'm not sure if my camera can pick it up, but you can just about see some freckles on her face. And as for the lips, they're painted a very bright pink. I think they're almost too bright. I wish they kept the paint a bit more subtle on her lips. And so as for the hairpiece, it's also pretty nicely done. You can really see all the strands of hair just sculpted in there. And it's quite nicely painted as well. It's painted a very dark brown. So yeah, there's a look at the head sculpt. And so moving on here to the body piece of the figure. And yeah, here's a look at the neck piece. As you can see, she has a necklace sculpted in there. This is sculpted directly onto the figure, but it really doesn't bother me too much. I think it looks great. And here's a look at the chest piece itself, with this nice clothing detail. I mean, it looks super realistic. As you can see, the top button pieces are unbuttoned, just like in the game. So yeah, I do like the fact that they have kept the statue true to the game. So she even has this tiny flashlight piece sculpted on the belt around her shoulder, which is super nicely done. It looks really good. So yeah, once again, just nice attention to detail. And so moving down here to the hands. And so as you can see, she's holding this pistol. So you have to manually insert this handgun into her hand before you display the figure. But it's super easy to do, so it's really not much of a problem. And so moving on here to the waist of the figure. And so as you can see, she has a whole bunch of equipment here. So we have a radio, we have all these pouches, we have the belt buckle, and we have this holster for the pistol, which is once again super nicely done. And then we have all these straps going across her legs. And here's a look at the trouser piece, or the pants, whatever you want to call them. But I mean, just look at all these folds and creases, all these nice textures just sculpted in there. And so here's a look at the boots. And I mean, look at the sculpting in there, all those laces just so finely sculpted. And same goes for the other boots. It's also got quite a nice weathering effect. And of course, here's a quick look at the display base, with the name of the character in a gold text. It looks really cool. And of course there's the display base itself. And so here is a profile of the face. And here we have the hairpiece. I just love what they've done with the hairpiece. Just super fine sculpting. And so moving down here to the side of the figure. So here's a look at the arm. I mean, it's a very subtle sculpt, but you really can make out some muscle definition in the arm, which is pretty realistic. And so down here we have the holster for the magazines, or the clips, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, once again, there's a look at the shirt piece with all these nice folds and creases. And I guess here's a better look at all this equipment at the side of our waist, like all these pouches, all the pockets, and the radio. Of course the pockets cannot open up, but yeah, they're really nicely sculpted. And we have all these belt buckles, all these pieces of equipment. And here we have the hands holding the handgun. And so moving down here to the legs, and I mean, you can really see all the textures, all of these fine details just sculpted in there so intricately. It does look quite realistic in my opinion. And once again we have the boots, and there's a look at the other boot as well. And so here's the other side of the figure. And so this side has a lot of hair. And once again, you can see all the hair pieces just so finely sculpted in there. I love the paint job. And moving down here to the chest piece on the figure. Once again, we have the necklace and we have the flashlights on her belts. And here's a look at this blue shirt piece itself, with all these nice textures in there. And so here's a look at the arm. And I do quite like the paint job in the skin. I think it looks quite realistic. I mean, it's not just one solid color. I mean, there's many shades of skin tones in there. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the paint job, especially on the skin on the statue. Here's a look at this elbow support. You can see like all the textures sculpted in there. And here's a look at her hands holding the handgun. And so I'm not sure if you guys can see this. I really don't know if my camera can pick up the detail. But she has a badge just right on her belt. It says Officer, Raccoon City Police. So I mean, just such fine detailing. I mean, this is such a small belt, so I'm really impressed that they've actually managed to print the text. But yeah, just such a nice detail that I wanted to point out. And so moving down here, so we have these straps going across her thigh for the holster for the handgun. And once again, all these folds and creases around the knees. And here's a look at the boots. And so here's the back of the figure. And so I really do love the redesign of this Jill. I think she looks great. I mean, it's pretty similar to the original, but it's much more updated. So yeah, I think they did a great job. But anyhow, here's a look at these straps, like all these kind of belts and buckles, and the holsters for the pistol and the magazines. You can see like all these kind of silver bolts sculpted in there. It's quite nicely painted. It's got a very clean paint job for the most part. So yeah, there's a look at the back of the figure. And moving down here to the back of the waist. So yeah, once again, we have this belt with all of these pockets. And moving back here to the back of the trouser piece. And down here we have the back of the boots. And so here's a quick look at both of these statues. So here we have Leon, and here we have Jill. So I think the Jill statue is much better. She just has a way sharper sculpt, and I think the paint job is much better. Whereas the Leon, his paint job is very thick, and it really doesn't look that great. It makes him look very plastic. Whereas the Jill has a very subtle paint job, and yeah, I think she looks way more realistic. So yeah, this is just a quick comparison. So let's just take a quick look at both of the figures. So I do like the head sculpt on the Leon. I think it looks great, but it's just the paint job which really kills the sculpt in my opinion. And here's a look at the body piece. Once again, I just really love the new design of all these characters. I'm just so happy that they finally remade Resident Evil 2 and 3. And so here we have Jill. So yeah, as I mentioned, I just think the statue looks way better. Just everything, the sculpt, the paint job, the pose, I think it looks much better. I mean, Leon is my favorite Resident Evil character, but I've just got to say, I do like the Jill figure much better. So yeah, there's a quick comparison on both of these figures. So yeah guys, a super nice statue. I mean, if you guys are a big fan of Resident Evil or of the character of Jill, then I think you will really enjoy the statue. Currently the statue is only available with the collector's edition of the game, but I'm sure that they're going to release the statue individually, just like they released the Leon. So yeah, for those of you who missed out on the collector's edition of the game, I'm sure that we're going to see the statue pretty soon. But yeah, anyways guys, that was a look at the Resident Evil 3 Jill Valentine statue. So yeah guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a suggestion below for what video you guys want to see next. Hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Take it easy guys.